The Sheldon Shake.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crypto Banter. I am Sheldon the Sniper. Welcome, everyone. So what's the main topic we're talking about today? Is this V-shaped recovery on par? Are we looking good? What I do have some exciting news today, guys. There is a lot of short-term trades that are coming up that are actually in buy zones right now. What we have learned, obviously, in the last few days, the last few weeks, is we have the different parts of our portfolio, and right now we're sitting patiently waiting to see if our investment side is sitting healthy. But there's so much money to be made on the short term right now, and remember what the whole purpose of that spot wallet is. And the shorter term is we're getting in, we're taking the money we need, and we are getting out. There's no relationship, there's no love, there's no nothing on that. So we are going to be going through some brilliant short-term trades. Let's have a look where Bitcoin is, what is going to happen the weekend, what are the key levels we need to hold. But everything is sitting beautifully chart-wise and structure-wise for the short-term trades to be happening. And remember, we are at the point now where risk is minimal. Make sure risk is minimal. Make sure when to make that trade free, and make sure we take profits when we get to certain levels, certain price points, and we are going to be going through that today. So welcome, everybody. The first thing I do want us all to be doing is hit the like button, smash that like button, actually. Follow myself on Twitter, Sheldon_Sniper. Follow Crypto Man Ran on Twitter as well, guys. What is the reason for all of that? Obviously, we have the major Sniper School, which is launching the biggest crypto school, not just crypto, but the biggest school in the world that will be launching. We are already starting day by day with our small, let's get this off, with our small little, there we go, our little thing go. We're starting every day with a little bit of education as we go. And what's lovely is the market brings us different things every day. So it's nice that we can actually act and educate as the things are actually happening every day. So firstly, by hitting that like, hitting that subscribe button, you will get notifications when we're going live. If there is any big emergencies of the weekend, I will be going live as well. I'm set now. I have a place now. Settling a bit in Joburg. We've been traveling a lot. So if there is something major, I will be coming live. And obviously, guys, Sniper School, banter bags, not going too much on it, but at 500,000 subscribers, we will be giving the banter bags out to the community. We are just making sure that the market is looking healthy for us to be getting in there. But guys, end of the day, we've been going through this massive 2 months of a bear market. At some point, the bulls are going to fight. The only thing is the bulls and the institution, when they are happy with the price, is when we're finally going to get that strong acceleration. But the first thing that we have realized is we haven't had bullish momentum for a while. And the last 2-3 days, we've actually had some good bullish intent, which is showing that we are getting a bit of interest back in the market and someone is buying at these key levels. So I think let's start it off. What we are going through today, Bitcoin, going through a little bit of bigger picture. And then I'm going into a lot of the shorter time frames. There's 2, 3, possibly 4 good trades for us to take now with good exit points. What we do realize right now in the market is, even though higher time frame, we are sitting at very critical levels. In between that, and we actually zoom in, there's 10-20% trades happening quite often. Every second day or so, we have a good opportunity. So this weekend, I see a nice opportunity for us to make a bit of good cash. And remember, we have those 3 wallets. End of the day, we are going to be trading. Remember, you should only be trading at least 20% of your portfolio, 30% max. And what is the whole purpose of that trading portfolio? Is to be filling your long term and to be filling your cash wallet for any further big dumps or dips in the actual market, so that you have cash. Because I think the biggest thing is, even though we had dips in the market and the market's returned, if everyone had cash at those bottoms, we'd all be happy. So this is where we're at the critical stage where we need to be learning through these things and obviously understanding that next time we're going to make sure we have cash. Now let's start getting that cash. Let's start getting momentum again. It feels like we've been sitting, waiting, anticipation. Guys, I'm getting back in. And I'm not talking about getting back in with 100% of my portfolio. That a lot of it's already still in the market. But I'm getting active with that trading portfolio. I'm getting active with that now we need to learn and we need to practice now. Learn where to put the stop loss, learn how to make the trade free, learn the risk management, and learn how to take profits. And this is where we should be practicing, is off of these times. So Let's share. Let's get everything going again, guys. So the first thing we've obviously been waiting for now is this V-shaped recovery. We haven't had, since we've been trailing since that big bounce, since that bottom that we did get in, we have been trailing up, and you can see we're getting higher highs, higher lows. Now this, even though it's taking a little bit of time, taking 2-3 days in the zone, the main thing is we are still trending up because we are getting those higher highs and higher lows. So that's very important to understand, that until we have some sort of little bit of break of structure and we start trailing to that, then we know we can be getting back to the lower sort of time frames. For now, if we have a look at the chart and we can see clearly, let's get rid of these lines over here. There we go. That we are still trailing upwards in the market. Guys, remember, the market is always going to have ups and downs. The main thing that we want to always be seeing, up, low, higher high, turn that into support. You can see how it's literally step for step how we should be trailing up in the market. Now, this is the key indication now for us to know. It doesn't matter what time frame, as an investor or as a short-term trader, is for us to know that if we are trailing up and we can see very clear that higher, there's the high, there's the higher low, higher high, higher low. As long as we are trailing in that, what is it doing? It's showing us that we are moving in that upwards direction, which means that at any point, we don't want to see us trail down and make that lower low, because then we know we're starting to lose momentum, and then that can definitely be the point where we start making lower lows, lower highs. And the reason why I'm countering back on this, guys, because this is where the powerful skill of understanding that the simplicity of higher highs and higher lows makes it simple for you to understand that when we are trailing up, stop loss under that low. If we are going up, we're making the higher high. What's the next purpose? Make the higher low. Now, if we make the higher low and we bounce at this point, remember that these previous highs are always key resistance points. So all that we want to see in the market is when we are trailing up, it's like walking upstairs. And you can see that very clearly as we start making our way up. We want to see the trend continue moving up in that zone and making each level, it's like stairs, walking up, turning that one into support and continuing this move. Now, what is the next thing that obviously helps us very much with this in the market is taking that trend line and tracking that momentum as well. So now we understand that the higher highs and the higher lows is such a big part of stepping up in the market. And this trend line, all that we are doing is taking the bare minimum drops, and we are monitoring the drops. Every time we go up, we can see clearly that the raising, the bulls, if I could call it, on the way up is always a bit bigger than on the way down. And we want to track that. And what's beautiful about using this trend line and detecting when we are making our way up in the market is at any point that we start to, the first big sign would be if we are trailing up in that zone and we make our way down, we find support and we trail up and we start to lose momentum. Now, how do we know if that could possibly be the high or if we're going to continue? That's where the power of using our, let's get that in play, using our stochastic RSI. Let's see if I can track it there. Okay, I'm just going back before we go back to the picture, but this is very, very important. If the stochastic RSI, let's get rid of the normal one, if that is getting very high to the top, and we can see that at this point we are losing steam, we are getting very high on the RSI. So the RSI is now, it went up, it went down, and now we are making our way up to the top again into the overbought territory, and we are not getting that high point. It's a very big possibility that we're not getting the higher high, that we're going to start getting the lower low. And when we start doing that, we'll get the very key indication of us breaking that trend line. Now, us breaking that trend line is already that warning sign. The first one was not getting that higher high point. Second one was breaking that trend. What we'll usually do is the RSI will make its way down. As we make our way down, we break the trend, make the lower low. We then go up, test the trend, and then continue the downward sort of form. So remember that the whole critical stage of us is we need to now, when we are getting these key breakouts and these levels, because on short time frames, we're getting them quite often. The main thing is you need to not be afraid to be entering the market when you have the full strategy set up. Now, if I erase this, let's get this all cleared up so we can all see. Sorry, guys, just cleaning up. Now, before that happens and before we get the trailing up in the market. Now, the whole scenario of what I'm trying to say is we can see here clearly that we have been trailing up. Now, the first thing I can see here with Bitcoin is there was a low, We went up, we made a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. What's your first step now as a trader? And this doesn't matter what time frame. What is the first step? Is to take, we can see we are trailing up, is to take that trend line and put it in. Because then you know that it's okay for Bitcoin to come down to these levels as long as when we make our way up, we continue the higher high, the higher low form, and we continue making this, because end of the day, even though we get in these ups, downs, up, down, in general, we are moving in an upwards direction. So I wanted to make that very clear for us on what we're actually looking with Bitcoin. So now, yesterday, we've been saying that we want to get to this key level, okay, which was basically the 35,500, the $37,000 level. That was the key level we wanted to get to. Now we went to the just under the 35,500. But is that to say now, okay, that's it. Now we're going to start making our way down? Guys, we can't say that until we know that we have broken trend and we have made a lower low just yet, which means that it's very possible that from this zone, we will now chase the higher high. Now, if we now make our way up now in the next move now, and we get over here and we can see, let's have a look. Because what is our stochastic RSI telling us right now on the 1 hour? We are heavily oversold, which means now the bulls are now going to attempt to reclaim. Now, bigger picture, we're still making higher highs, we're still making lower lows. So we are still not set in a state to say, ooh, warning signs are just hitting just yet. The warning sign will be that when this next RSI on the 1 hour makes its way to the top, okay? And when if we don't get that higher high, it's going to be a very key indication that we can start coming down and making those lower lows. So we'll already get the key indication. So the reason why I'm going through this, guys, I just want to explain you the process of what we're looking for when we're entering in and out of trades. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's high time frame, longer, if it's short time frame. This is what we need for progression, because this will give you the early warning signs to take profits. But understand this now. If you get into the habit of knowing that support bars, guys, I like to call them floors. I like to call them bottoms, okay? So what we mean by that is there's a support, there's a resistance. These are the certain levels that we track, okay? Anytime we are at the floor level, let's get that in there. Anytime we are at the floor level, this is where we must never be afraid to be buying in the market. Now, this is horizontal. We get horizontals and we get trend lines as well. But this is where we should never, ever be afraid of buying, because we know if we drop that level, we know we're going to the next lows or wherever the next support is, which means we can always trail a very nearby stop loss. The main goal is always to minimize that risk. Now, if we are always buying on floors, never be afraid to buy on floors, because you have a plan B always and you know what your risk management is. Great, you have a structure of it. Doesn't matter if you get stopped out once or two times. The one that you get is literally going to be the bottom, and you can trail that as upwards. So when we do get to the floor and we start to break, this is where you're buying up, okay? Stop loss, just underneath. And as we start progressing and we're making these higher highs and higher lows, it's very simple. I go here to my trend line, I take my trend line, and I track that as we're making our way up. As soon as I see that we are still continuing, what's the RSI going to do, guys? The RSI is going to continue up, down, up, down, up, down. And as we're going up, if I see, oh, we're not getting the higher high. If we are not getting the higher high, it's a very high possibility we're going to get the lower low. And what's that going to be? There's the key indication first. Second indication, break of trend line. Then we know, test and continue the downward side. So this is obviously, once we have entered the trade, this is the strategy that we are looking for. Because if we know we are making those higher lows, I know I can trail my stop loss every time we pass a level. Guys, it's walking up steps. That's all that it is. And as we are walking up a step and we are making the higher high, higher low, and I can see that RSI making its way up and down, learn to use this, guys. It's very simple to simplify it for yourself and not confuse yourself. There's my stop loss. And as soon as we start progressing, as you start understanding, we are not getting a higher high. We're starting to now, we're not getting a higher. RSI is way overbought. There's your warning sign. Take some profits. Otherwise, you have the next one, which is the trend line. As soon as we break that trend, you will get stopped out and we will start the downwards market. So this is the strategy on when we are in a coin and we are making progression upwards, right? Now, where is the key levels and what is the understanding on when do we buy? How do we get into the habit of buying? That's the same thing, guys. Means that when we are coming down, there's the low. We go up, lower high. We go down, lower low. We go up, lower high. And that same thing with the RSI. We'll be trailing up, trailing down, trailing up, trailing down. Very, very simple. And what we do is when we're trailing down, the same strategy we use when we're trailing up is to take that trend line and to put that trend line on the top. Detect the momentum going down. Okay. Then as soon as we get to a point where this goes up, test that trend line, we come down, RSI goes up, it comes down, and now all of a sudden we are turning to go up on the RSI, and for the first time we're getting the indication, oh, we're getting a higher low. What's the next step? Break up. So our entry points are always these break points here. Once we get the higher high, we come in, we test, and then we start to make our way up. So you see the simplicity of understanding that when we are trailing down, I use one line to detect that, and I use my RSI. Okay. And then when we break and we start making our way up, all that I want to see is as we're making higher highs, higher lows, so what's the first step? Let me simplify this quickly, guys. I want to go through this because we need to get into the habit of understanding that the money is there to be made every day. It doesn't matter what anyone said. The last 2-3 days, we've had 10, 20, 30% moves from these coins, which means if we consistently got a good 10, 15, remember that with the spot and the trading wallet that we are using, it's set for goals. It's not love coins. That's where your long term comes in. This means we get it, we take our money and we get the hell out, which means that when you enter that trade, you must already know I am buying on a support now. My previous low is 3% risk, means that that's where my stop loss. I'm risking 3% of my capital. Okay. But when I make 10, 20% in this trade, I'm taking all my profits. So I'm taking 80% of my profits. You have to already preset that in your mind before you have taken that trade. So when we are trailing up, there's that great trend line. Okay. Now we make our way up, higher low. We break the trend line. There's my buy signal. Where do I put my stop loss? Guys, if we are trailing up, it means we should be making lower lows, right? Put my stop loss under that low. There we go. So now I know that this little move over here, I am risking 4%. As we progress, we go up, we make the higher high, we make the higher low, and we progress. Guess what I do now? From 4% risk, there's my 4% risk over there. Okay. From 4% risk, I take my stop loss now. Boom. No risk. So now I got no risk for the trade. I'm actually 1% in profit. As we progress upwards and we start continuing, remember, it's like stepping in ladders. I then take my stop loss. Boom. Now I'm in 4% profit. Okay, cool. And we start progressing as we move. So remember the key indications that when we are trailing down, guys, are putting the simple strategy of putting a trend line, tracking that momentum down, buying the break, putting the stop loss under the previous low. As we make the next higher high, the higher low, and we start progressing, how do we know when it's a higher high? RSI, guys, using the stochastic RSI. Remember, take your indicators, go to the FX point, put in RSI, stochastic RSI, put that in. Then we know when the bulls are going to fight and when the bears are going to fight. Then we can progress as we move. And as soon as we start breaking and we're not stepping up the steps as a normal, that's when we know, okay, time to take some profits and time to get out. So I wanted to just go through that quickly in the beginning to understand what we need to be looking at in the market. Because the first sign here with Bitcoin would have been, let's get that out of there, was the break of the trend, right? Now, tell me that this is not the perfect example of what we mean, guys. So here we go. So write this down. This is the strategy that we are using when we are buying into these coins. Okay. We first took a line and we were tracking the momentum to the downward side. So let's get that in there. There we go. Tracking it to the downward side. There we can see clearly. There's the highs. There's the high, lower high. You can see there's the low, lower low, lower low, lower low. Boom. First time, what do? There was the high. We're trailing down. First time, a little bit of a higher high. Once I see that, higher low. There's already a key indication. Break of trend, which means I would have bought a percentage. I like to use the 50-50% rule, meaning that I would have bought 50% on the break over there, and I would have bought another 50% on the retest in that zone. Where did my stop loss? Where's my stop loss go? Boom. there goes your stop loss at that region right under the previous low. Simple. We break the trend. We buy the breaker trend. We buy the retest. Stop loss under previous low. Okay. Now we progress downwards. We make our way up. There we can see we make our way up. Now we've broken the higher high. What do? I take the stop loss and I move it under that low. Do you see how I move the stop loss as we progress? Now Bitcoin comes down, and let's just clean this up so we can all see it nicely. There we go. So now, as I see we are making higher highs and higher lows, this is my key indication now where I take a trend line, I take that higher low, the first one we have gotten, and the retest of where we got. Now, what do? I put my simple line at the bottom, which means any time that we get down to these, I can be buying anytime as we hit support. Why? Because I know my stop loss is under previous low. And as we progress upwards, you can see how we can take that stop loss and we can trail it up as we move, as we progress up, as long as we are keeping the higher highs and higher lows. So right now, for short term for Bitcoin, is I see a buy coming up for the short-term trader. Now, for the spot wallet trade, for anyone that we are getting in now, I'm looking now to enter Bitcoin in this region over here. Why? Because I know where my stop loss must go. Now, as we progress, we get here. What is my RSI telling me, guys? Let me go there. What's the RSI telling me? You can see there we are at over sold territory. So we can see every time we have been in the oversold, there it was it over there. Okay, that zone, there was it over there. There was it. Do you see how the bulls fight after? So we know that we must never be afraid to be entering on support buys ever, as long as when we see that. So what I mean by that now, guys, is look here. Let me show you now. So now we know that the RSI is getting to the oversold territory for Bitcoin, which means I want to be buying in the zone. I want to be buying on support. Once we buy, the job is to put your stop loss under that previous low. And as we progress upwards, we know we should never come below that support trend line either. So me knowing that my stop loss must always be trailing under that support trend line, under the previous low as we progress. Now, if Bitcoin now bounces in the zone and we make our way to the upward side, which means now I've taken the trade and we start progressing to the upward side and we're getting to the top. We don't have that higher high in place. And I go and I have a look and I see my RSI. My RSI now is all the way at the top now. Take profits. Boom. Very simple. I don't have to wait for it to come down and break or to get stopped out. I can see we're not getting the higher high, which means that even if Bitcoin does come down and it continues up, guys, you went and you took a trade and you made 7%. No problem. Now, if it continued up, okay, fine. No problem. At some point, Bitcoin is going to make its way up and it's going to change structure. All of a sudden, the lower low. And when that starts to happen, we're going to start trending downwards, which means you made this little trade over here and you took 7 to 8% profits. Now it continued. So what? I don't buy now because it's not on a support anymore. But I made my 7%. Great. Remember, your spot wallet is not there for love. Who cares if you missed another 5%? Who gives? The main thing is you took 8%. Because when we get the change of structure again, and we get the lower low for the first time, and we start progressing downwards, now I take my new trend line, I draw that down, and I wait for the next one. Remember, it needs to be perfectly, I will be patient for my trades. Because this is how I win 7, 8, 9 out of 10 trades on the shorter term base, or even on the higher time frame base. So now I made that little trade. Now we are continuing up. There's no buy time now because now we are progressing. I took my profits, no problem. Now we change structure and Bitcoin starts to trail down. What do I wait for again? There we go. Boom. Buy the break of the trend. Higher high, test. There's my 2 buys. Stop loss under that zone. As I make the next higher high and I progress, where do I take the stop loss? I take my stop loss. I move it there. I move it there. And what else do we do? Take a trend line. Boom, put it at the bottom. So do you see how we use a simple strategy of taking when the market is trailing to the downward side, I'm putting one line at the top. We break that line, I buy 50%. We retest, I buy the other 50%. Stop loss under previous low. Now we progress up. As I'm making higher lows, I want to detect that momentum. I want to see that momentum. So I take a simple trend line and I put it at the bottom. Every time, higher low, higher low, higher low. look at your RSI, guys. Your RSI is going to give you very key indications. Move my stop loss, move my stop loss. Okay, now we're at the top. We're not getting a higher high. Let me take 50% profit. And if we break the trend, I will take another 50% profit. Done. But do you see how the market is still giving us 10, 15, 20% trades every day, and we're thinking we can't make money? The only part that we should be wary with in the market right now is our investments. Because is it worth it? Is Bitcoin, can Bitcoin go to 25? Of course it can. It still has a job to do to make us believe that it's not. But it doesn't mean that 20% of our portfolio shouldn't be active. We should be in and out, because what is that spot wallet there for? Now I make 5, 10% on the trade. And now I take that 5, 10%. Okay, cool. Now I put some in cash. I go buy more long-term coins, and I put a little bit more into my spot wallet so it's a bit bigger. Next, then I trade again. Then I trade again. Then I trade again. Just because the investment side is a little bit wary right now does not mean that there's no money to be made in the market. Because every damn day the coins are going up 5, 10%, and they're going down 5, 10%. And when a coin goes down 5, 10, 20%, it means the bounce is also going to be strong. So the more volatile this market actually gets, and the bigger the drops are, is when we get the insane bounces. Now, what I meant by that is, even though the market has been progressing down, okay, and we had this big dump off, and Bitcoin fell to 28. If you track that momentum down, let's clear this up here. I want to show you here quick. If we track that momentum, let's clear up there. There we go. If we took this trend line over here, let's get it. There we go. Okay, cool. So if we took this trend line there and we were detecting that as we go down, guys, look at it. There's it there in front of your eyes right now. I just drew it there simple. Let's clear that. There we go. Where was the key indication? There was the buy. There was the buy. Stop loss would have been there. But guess what? As soon as we made the higher high and the higher low, where would your stop loss have moved? From there, it would have moved there. Risk-free trade, minimal risk, and now you can give it to go. Take my trend line, track the momentum. So now if Bitcoin wants to go and wants to test this trend line, there's a buying. For the short-term buyers now, there's the buy. There's the stop loss. As we progress, higher high, higher low, I take that stop loss and I move it to a free trade. Boom, the trade's free. Now we progress and we keep making up, down, and we keep making our way up. Now we take our trend line, track the new momentum, and every time we make the higher high, higher low, I will use stop loss. All of a sudden, I see Bitcoin make the lower high, RSI's at the top, start breaking, cool. Get out of the market. Now I just made all of this gain over here. And now all I need to do is be patient for that RSI to make its way down. And then we start trailing down, take my, put it in, boom. Which means in the zone, I should have at least made 12% profits from the break of that trend. Now I sit for a day and I wait for the RSIs to come down, like a day today. It's coming down. But tonight, the buys are going to come in. When we're on that support, I'm buying, I'm putting my stop loss in, and we can see clearly that even if I jump to the 15-minute now, if you're still learning, trade the 1 hour, it's a great one. But look at this now. Now I go, let's just clear up again quick. So I do apologize, I'm going through this quite long this morning, guys, but this is important. This is where this is where we need to be focusing on. Yes, the investments are taking a little bit of sake. We are making sure that Bitcoin higher time frame is healthy. But short time frame, guys, look at this. Here's Bitcoin making its way down to my support. Okay, there was my trend line I put in previously. Boom, there's my support trend line. Now, how do I know where is it going to bounce in the zone? Firstly, I can see that stochastic RSI is getting to the bottom on the 1 hour. Now I take a trend line. Boom. You see that? There we go. There I'm tracking the momentum down to where I want to buy. Now, all of a sudden, Bitcoin now keeps going up, trailing. Boom, break. We break, I buy, retest, stop loss under low, we progress upwards and we make our way. Because this little move over here is 5-6% already. This is on very short time frame. Trade 1 hour. You don't have to trade, but I'm just showing you that when you want to find where do I buy this, where do I put my stop loss, we need to stop thinking there's no money to be made in the market. Because now I make a 5-10% 3 times a week. I end up filling my long term. I end up filling my cash. I actually slowly start bringing my entries down from all my investments because I'm able to buy more of those coins at cheaper. It doesn't matter if I was buying Bitcoin at 50K, I'm buying a little bit now at 30K. And I'm buying a little bit more at 35K. And I'm slowly starting to bring that down. I'm filling my cash portfolio. I'm making my spot wallet portfolio bigger. And I'm building more on my long term. The best way, guys, we even know, Craig said it brilliantly with one of his friends, that for the last 2 years, he has taken a set amount of money and he bought Bitcoin every month. I don't care what the price was. So it means sometimes he bought Bitcoin at $5,000, sometimes $10,000, sometimes $60,000, then $30,000. It doesn't matter. The power of averaging in, you will see. You'll always. The main thing is we need to always make sure we have cash flow when the markets do pull down in a big dip. And this is where we need to take big advantage. So, guys, I wanted to just go through that quickly so that we have a good understanding, because now I'm going to give some short-term trades. And what's powerful today, guys, at the latest show today, we brought that big spreadsheet. So what we have said, so what I'm focusing on this show now is to get you guys into the habit of understanding on how to actually trade and how to take this. So if we have a look here, this is what I'm focusing on right now. I'm going to give you guys some spot trades now for now and over the weekend. The later show today, we are going to go through that full spreadsheet with the longer term trades and views. All of that, where do we stake? Where do we that? What are the best investments of that? The main thing is we need to be understanding what we are doing in the market. Okay, so now let's get this off. Enough me ranting. Okay, I just wanted to get that out there to make sure. Go watch back on this. If it didn't make full sense, pause it, take your time, study it, put your notes in, just understand when are we looking for entries. So now we've seen that very clear with Bitcoin on where we're sitting. Okay, let's get this into play. Okay, there we go. So you can see now I've set a buy zone for Bitcoin. Now anywhere between the $30,000, $30,500 region. And I know that I'm tracking. So I know I have that trend line. Let's just make sure it's correctly in place. It's supposed to be that one there. There we go. So there I can, right shoulder. There we go. Done. Okay, cool. So now what I'm looking at for Bitcoin now, there's a good short-term trade coming up. And what I mean by that is we now, even though we progressed and we didn't get that full point, we are still making higher highs and higher lows in the market. So for the shorter term, guys, now between 32,800 and 33,300 is a buy zone for me for Bitcoin. My stop loss will be at 32,100. Do you see how I used that previous low? Now, how do we know when it's going to bounce? Guys, jump to that 15-minute, take your trend line in and draw that trend line. We will progress downwards as we go, and when we break is your indication. Once we have broken, put your stop loss under your previous low, and the next target for Bitcoin to the upward side is 36,000 to the $38,000 region, which means the short-term trade for Bitcoin is looking at between a 10 to a 12 to a 15% gains. That's what we're looking at for the next target for Bitcoin, and that's also obviously the higher time frames as well. But this is what we're looking at. So to recap, guys, make sure that you do have a look. I am going to retweet. We got Dollar Currency, which always does summaries every day of what I've said. Stop losses, all of these things. I'll retweet it. Make sure you do see it. And he'll give you a summary of all the zones. We appreciate him. He helps us very much. Make sure you follow him as well. And that will give you the zones that I'm giving you, the stop loss as well. We'll make sure we give you a nice updated system. The main thing is Bitcoin's getting to a short-term buy. Now, the other ones that I want to give you guys is having a look. Let's jump a little bit out here quick. So Bitcoin, 32,800 to the $33,000. I am buying short-term. Stop loss at 32,100, which means I'm putting a 3% risk. But my reward on what I'm looking at from this trade is a 8 to a 12 to a 15% from Bitcoin. Who knows? Bitcoin can go to 38,000 from here. I'm going to trail it higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Not predicting, just using a simple damn system. That's the whole purpose of it. So now that I'm looking at that, guys, is I'm starting to see that the longs are still going up. People are still buying in the market. And we can start to see that the shorts, there's a nice big candle forming there for the shorts now. They're starting to progress upwards. Okay, cool. Which means still higher time frame. We know we're still going to play in this range for a little while. I will be going through a lot in the higher time frame on the later show to see what's the key levels for Bitcoin. Now, dominance is trailing up again. But this is the point now where we want to see dominance make its way up, lower high, and make its way down. This will give us a great push from the alts. Now, the trades that I want us to be looking at for the weekend, Bitcoin, definitely we take that trade on Bitcoin. The next one that I'm looking at now is Link. Now, if I jump to the 1 hour here with Link, what is Link showing me now? Link is showing me that firstly, we are getting bullish divergence. Great sign on the 1 hour. And we are seeing that the 1 hour stochastic is at the bottom. We have broken trend yesterday. There's the trend. Now we are coming down to test. So I am buying up for a short-term trade on Link in the zone. I'm buying anywhere now between 17.4 to call it, let's see where we are now. Yeah, call it 17.4 to 17.9. Anywhere in that zone, I'm stocking up. Do this now. We don't know where the bottom is, right? We don't know how far it's going to retrace. You jump to that 15 minutes, you take a trend line, boom. You buy the break of that trend line. Simple. Once we got the break of that trend line and we are trailing and we break that trend line to the upward side, stop loss under previous low inside the trend. That's it. As we progress up, use the 1 hour. As we progress up, move that stop loss up as we go. So what I'm looking at for Chainlink now is we are getting now to a really good buy zone for the shorter time frame, meaning the next 1 day, 1 to 2 day hold. And I'm looking at Chainlink making its way up to the $21 to the $23 region, which means that even now, once we get the break, we're going to be using a 2-3% risk because we're going to use the previous low. The gains are between 18 to 26%, because that's huge risk to reward ratios. That's worth the trade. That's worth taking the trade. So Chainlink is one that's in the zone now. And the best way to do it is get into habit with me, guys. Get into it. Put this 15-minute trend line. We break that trend line is your signal. Once we have broken, then we progress upwards. Trail that stop loss. You jump to a 1 hour. Our 1 hour is showing us that we are at the bottom. When that 1 hour gets to the top, you either take profits or you can wait for your trend line to break. Because what it's going to do here is we're going to go, got bullish, we go up and we start trailing. Remember, as soon as we start getting these lower highs and we break the trend, take your profits. So we have a TP zone, but that's predicting, right? That's predicting that's going to get there, because that's a key level that I see us getting to. But use that support trend line at any point. We don't do that. We don't hold that. Don't go to, do me a favor and don't trade too much small times. Don't go to 5 minutes and all those things, because it's very volatile at those things. 1 hour is very easy to start getting in the hang of making money. So the 1 hour is a key one that you want to detect. And as soon as we start breaking and we start losing momentum, boom, take your profits. We'll trail down and we'll catch the next one. Very simple. But what is the main thing to say here? Link, where we are right now, good 20 to 26, 27% trade. Great. Minimal risk. Move that stop loss up, make that thing for free. Do you see how I've set these rules up on your spot wallet? That spot wallet thing that I gave you guys, go have a look at it. Know your risk when you enter the trade, know when to make that trade free, and know when to take profits. Very, very simple. So Link is the one. The next one that is looking really good, it's not Cardano, it's BNB, guys. Look how beautiful this is. Yeah, let me show you. Now we're on the 1 hour. What's my RSI showing me? Right at the bottom, very much at the bottom. We're starting to cross, and we got great, very big bullish divergence on BNB. What is bullish divergence, guys? Do you see this bottom over here? And you see that one over there? Do you see how they're higher than each other on the candles, right? Then if we go look at the RSI, the relative strength index, if you want to see that on the indicators, do you see how this, there's the low? Do you see how this is showing me a downwards? There's the low, lower low. But the chart is showing me there's the low, higher low. Guys, that's bullish divergence. That's always a good key indication when your RSI is doing something different to what your charts or your price action is actually doing. So this is a great buy. There's my stop loss under the previous low inside the trend. So now BNB, I'm buying 280 to 290, 292, call it 295. In that zone is where I'm buying. Same thing. I quickly go one time frame a little bit lower. Look how beautiful this is, guys. I take my trend line, boom. There's my trend line. Look at that. Let me zoom in there quickly so you can see it. There we go. So how do I know where in the zone are we going to bounce, or where do I buy? Put your trend line. There's your trend line. Boom. Okay. So same thing now. This is my laddering in zone. My confirmation buy is on the break of that trend. I break that trend, stop loss. There's my stop loss region at 280, which means right now, as we break that trend and we start progressing, let's see from here, we're running at a 2.5% risk. Okay, and where am I looking at for my next targets to the upward side? Let's get back to the hour. My next target is going to be 340 to the 365 region, which means I'm risking 2% of my capital now for a 17 to a 26, 27% trade. Remember, same thing. We break here, we break here, we break up, we make our way up. Remember, sorry, I drew that a little bit wrong. Let's do that. We break up, we make the higher high, higher low, we start progressing, use your RSI, detect it, boom. So I have a TP point. Is it going to hit that TP point? We got a trend line to help us with that. The main thing is at any point we break this trend line, I take my damn profits, and guess what? I just made 14%. Now I take that 14% profit, 33% I put in cash, 33% I put in my spot wallet, I leave it there, 33% I go and I go buy any of my long-term love coins that I want to buy. Generate money, use it as a tool. So BNB is the next one that's in buy zone now. Stop loss, 280. Use that trend line as well as a confirmation. Practice with me as you progress. So BNB is the next one. Chainlink, BNB, and let's see, Ethereum. Ethereum is also at a very key level. Now, the only thing that I'm seeing with Ethereum now is we are at that point now where we are starting to break. So Ethereum for now, it was looking like a good. Is not the one I want to be buying right now. So Chainlink and BNB are the perfect ones, and Bitcoin are the perfect ones for getting in. So guys, as I'm ending off here, let's see. I got this quick sniper's wisdom that I just want to share with you guys quickly as we close off. Firstly, guys, practice with me. Understand the skill that we are learning with this. Higher high, higher high, higher low, stop loss, trend line. Practice with me, because on any time frame it's going to work wonders for you. What I do want to do for Sniper's Wisdom today, guys, is lessons from the dump, this big dump market that we have hit previously in the market. Take this down. Remember, on Twitter, I do post these every day. Set this as rules. We're not going to go through this again, guys. We've experienced a bear market for the last, or bear cycle for the last month or two. Make sure you take these damn rules down so we don't go through it again. Let's not run in circles. Let's not be a rat on the wheel. Let's learn and let's progress as we move. So the first thing, stop losses, stop losses, stop losses. Take profit, take profit, take profit. Watch breaking of trend lines. I've showed you guys that now. Keep a trading journal. Write down the lessons you have learned. Always have cash on hands for the dips. We've now made that rule now, that we are using the spot wallet to generate money, that we always have money for any dips that come in the market. 33% of any profit you make on trades, put it into cash. So we always have cash for the dips. Keep decisions on long-term wallet and spot trades separate. We know that now. This is the spot wallet we are focusing on today. We are still waiting for indications for the longer-term wallet, if we should be in or out. We are still waiting for that. Bitcoin needs to give us more. But for now, the spot wallet should be going crazy. Take notes from the shows every day. Use this. Practice lessons from the show. Educate yourself to become an independent trader. You and only you are responsible for these trades. Guys, I don't want to hear that no one has put a stop loss. I don't want to hear that no one has been taking profits, because all I do every day is give you market updates. But for the first time, I'm giving you set damn rules. Make sure you use these rules, because you should always be taking profits off the rules I've given you, and you should always be setting a stop loss. So if you get stopped out or you get tanked, it's your own decision. It's your own fault. We are giving you the set guidance every day. And I see the lasting warning signs. Guys, very simple. Break of support, break of trend lines, and crossing of moving average lines. The MAs. I'll go through that on Monday. I know we don't have much time now. So I'll go through the simplicity of MAs. You know, the death cross, all those MAs. I'll help you guys set that up. I'll help you. I'll teach you how that works. How that works also with support and resistance and all that thing. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's show. The three ones that I am giving you is Link, BNB, and Bitcoin. Don't just buy. Use that damn trend line that I've given you. Once we break that trend line, that will detect you from stop predicting the damn market. It gives you a system. When we break that, stop loss under previous low, put your support trend line in as we progress. Always have a TP point, but if we don't make it to that point, know where your alarm bells are and start using that wallet to generate money, because we get movement in the market every day. Let's stop making excuses. Let's get up. The money is there. Someone is buying and someone is selling every damn day. Let's use that and let's get into that. So, guys, hit that like one more time. Hit that subscribe button. Next week, we're going to have a great week with the short terms. I did want to do long terms today, but that will be coming on Rand Show a little bit later. We're going through a brilliant spreadsheet with staking. Oh, yeah. And on Monday, guys, I have a guest coming on the show. It's going to teach you guys how to stake on Binance. So that's another big one that we can help you guys with the investments, how to stake on Binance. We've got a guest on Monday that's going to help us with that. So, guys, for myself, trade well, put your stop losses on, have a great day, and I will see you all later.